Hello and welcome to Module 2, Section H of the Better with Less course. This topic all about everyday carry. Your everyday carry has to do with the items that you bring with you when you leave the house to run errands or go to work, those sorts of things. And in this section, I will be going over some strategies to help you streamline your everyday carry, make it easier for you so you aren't forgetting things or feeling like you're disorganized, and give you some steps to maintain this over the long term. Let's get into it. All right, to begin our lesson today on our everyday carry, it's really important for us to reflect about our personal situation so we know what changes to make. So, in this case, what currently makes up your everyday carry? Of course, this will vary for all of us, but common examples of items could include your keys, money such as cash, credit or debit cards, even gift cards could fit into this as well, phone and any chargers that accompany that, pens, papers, planners, Post-its, water bottle or snacks, any necessary identification or formal documents, such as a driver's license. You could also have personal care items, which could include makeup, hand sanitizer, lotion, chapstick, or any other related item. Maybe you have things like tissues or wipes. Maybe you have some sunglasses or reading glasses, and maybe some emergency items or different medicines. And of course, anything else that is relevant to you. We have to audit our situation first so we know what kind of choices to make. Now let's make some evaluations and evaluate our current everyday carry. First of all, where do you store this? If you have a purse, wallet, or anything else that you use to carry these essentials, let's empty those out right now. Bring it over to your kitchen table, dump it out, remove everything. This could be a bit of a challenge if you've got a purse or a larger bag with a lot of pockets, but this is essential. First, take the time to remove any garbage or recyclables, things that are no longer needed. Maybe there's some old receipts or old lists that you were using, other one-time use kind of items. Let's throw that away or recycle it or dispose of it however it makes sense. And for any items you might have brought with you somewhere that don't permanently need to stay in this everyday carry or in this purse, let's consider moving them where they actually belong. After you've done this, then you move on to reflecting about the frequency of use of the remaining items. If you've got items that you don't use regularly, do they actually need to be in your everyday carry? Is it worth bringing them back and forth to and from wherever you're going? If you're not actually using it, then the space of the item, the weight of the item, the added clutter in your everyday carry is not justified. So let's consider letting these items go or moving them out of your everyday carry. Another important question to ask yourself would be, could you actually downsize the purse, bag, or wallet itself? Of course, it is the easiest to just keep using what you're already using, but if you've got a bag with tons of pockets or lots of extra space, it could be almost like a clutter trap and encourage us to store more there than is actually needed. Whereas if you pare it down to just the essentials, you don't have as much space for clutter to accumulate, and therefore it is going to be easier to maintain this everyday carry. Let's go ahead and streamline and optimize this. So a couple questions to help you reflect about this. First up, where do you currently store the items in your everyday carry? We all might store these in different places around our homes when they're not in use. Maybe we set this stuff down on a certain surface in our home. Maybe we store things in a bowl or on a tray or some sort of other organizer. Maybe we hang this up on a certain hook. What I want to ask you is this the best location for you and your space? Is this something that is convenient for you, that you are not forgetting items and having to run around and look for them? Is there a set spot they always go? If we can set up an exact location where these items go, it can help us stay organized, and it can also prevent clutter from randomly accumulating on different surfaces. A second question is, how do you transport them? Are you transporting these everyday carry items in the way that is most convenient for you? Depending upon what you actually need or what you're transporting, you might have different needs in terms of the bag or vessel, if you will, with which you're using to transport the items. So you can reflect about if what you're using makes sense. If you are using a bag that is too small, for instance, and you can't fit everything inside, and you are then using some sort of secondary bag or carrying things loose, is that worth it? I know we talked about the issue earlier of having some sort of everyday carry bag that is too big, but the opposite can also be a problem. Lastly, reflecting about if all the items are actually necessary. If you don't truly need to be bringing an item to and from wherever you're going, then you probably don't need to have it be a permanent place in your everyday carry. Now that we've addressed some techniques to help you reduce your everyday carry now, let's talk about long-term maintenance. Since this is a situation where it's not a one and done, it's very easy to let this get out of hand if we're not careful. First tip here is to have regular check-ins with this everyday carry to double check that you've got the essentials and to remove anything that is not essential. And these can happen whenever you want. Some examples could include weekly, monthly, or even seasonal check-ins. You decide what your needs are. Over time, you may also consider replacing current elements with either intentional pieces or upgrades. So what does this mean? This could mean looking for multi-purpose items that can actually do several functions and perhaps eliminate some of the different items you are responsible for. You also might be able to look for digital options. And of course, everyone has their own preferences. Do what's best for you. But there are situations where people are using their phone as an important item in their everyday carry that can actually cover the needs of other items. For example, people might opt to use the phone instead of having a planner or pen and paper in their everyday carry. A phone can even be used for money, especially if someone has a program like Apple Pay set up on their device or apps that allow you to pay from within the app. Finally, another option that could be helpful would be to consider leaving a duplicate or extra item in an alternative location so you don't have to transport that item back and forth. So if you're going to the same location regularly, such as a job, for instance, could it be beneficial to place extra items there so you don't have to bring them back and forth? Some examples could include bringing a water bottle, coffee mug, certain snacks that you keep on hand at work so you don't have to worry about bringing that in the morning. You could also consider keeping personal care items there so you don't have to bring them with you. Of course, this will all depend on the person, but if we can do some rethinking about what we need to bring and where, we can truly simplify what we have to haul around with us and make it a lot more convenient and clutter-free. That concludes this lesson about your everyday carry, but you do have some homework. This homework assignment can help you reflect about your essentials and prioritize what is most important and most essential. So I encourage you to check that out and keep up the great work. You're doing wonderful. I'll see you in the next video.